Tuesday morning. Dad's already beat me to the punch here. He's over here getting ready to knock down this big one. A lot of the reason I have to work weekends are late a lot of days just so I can get a piece of the action and cut some of the big ones, because Dad rushes out there and wants to cut them. Everybody likes cutting the good trees. Anyway, you're probably going to see this video on a Wednesday because I probably posted a video of me and Brandon working in the shop today, which is Tuesday. I know that's pretty confusing, isn't it? Regardless, we're going to knock some trees down this morning, both Dad and I. Then I've got the skidder parked right here. Then I'll start dragging later in the day at some point in time. Probably be a pretty late day today. Got quite a bit need to get done. I really want to get over here and see this big one come down. We might go over there here in just a second. All right, I just got done gassing up my saw. Some people ask me about saw maintenance and care, stuff like that. Guys, I'm not a model for anything of taking extreme care, maintenance and stuff. Luckily, we rarely ever have problems with these steel chainsaws. There's no big secret to it for us. 91 octane gas, or 93 if you can find it at the pump. I clean my air filter out every morning. And as far as bar and chain oil, seriously, we run whatever's cheapest. But it's all steel synthetic mix and high octane gasoline, and just run the saws. I think a lot of times it's harder on stuff just to set around than it is to go out and run it hard. Let's sneak down here and see this thing. Big limb there could be in trouble. That's a big one. The 25-inch bar almost wouldn't reach all the way through it. See in the video it had a little fiber pull here in the heart, so that's what that is. It's not a bad spot. It's just where Dad couldn't quite reach to it. So, yeah, it worried me. Landed on that limb there, which luckily it busted up the limb a little bit, so we'll have to cut that limb off about right there, and we'll still pull a good log out of that. We'll pull a good log out of this. We'll top this tree way up here. You're looking at, man, 800, 850 feet in this tree. She's a beast. She is a beast. She's seen a lot of storms in her day. Had a lot of coon and squirrel and possum climb up in it, I'm sure. And what's crazy is to see a tree of this size cut good like it did. Usually, and I'll be completely honest, I was worried to death about this thing cutting bad. I really was. But it cut pretty good. It's really not as old as you think when you look at the growth rings on it. Look how far apart those growth rings are. So this thing was putting on a lot of growth. So before anybody gets to saying 150-year-old or 200-year-old tree, not even remotely close to that. Not even. 75 years would be probably a stretch on this big devil, seriously. Like I said, look at the growth rings. I mean, it's old, don't get me wrong, but it's not one of these centennial trees or Declaration of Independence trees like people talk. Good piece of wood. Big tree here is one of the first ones we looked at when we looked at this job. It's just an old shell. I'm pretty sure we were going to cut it, but then as we were looking at it, see up there at all the bees. We try not to cut bee trees because we don't have a lot of bees left in the country. So whenever we come across them, we usually just leave them, which you can see right there. Big hole in the side of it. It is a big tree though. It's a shame. It is a shame. Honeybees. It's good to see them around. Even though, like I said, it is a sad deal if that big old tree ain't no good, but I think this one's pretty good. pig. That's a slick old tree. Some big ornery devils, some of these trees are. By the time you get them all down and work them up, a lot of footage in them. Some big walnuts still hanging on that tree. Clipping the spurs. Let's move a little bit. We're still kind of in the splash zone here. If you're wondering if it hurts to get hit in the head with a walnut when you're cutting walnut trees, it hurts a lot. Shoot, even hickory nuts can kind of hurt. Some of those bigger walnuts are bigger than a baseball. Some of them I've seen some walnuts get as big as a softball before. So yeah, from 30 or 40 foot up, it beans you in the head. Good boy. Let's go see how that looks. Ta-da! That is nice. Sometimes crazy to me that this walnut grows like it does in these big low bottom hedge groves, but honestly we cut a lot of good walnut out of places where nothing grows but hedge and walnut. And you know, walnut's very acidic. It puts off a lot of acid. A lot of farmers say they don't like it in their fields because grass and stuff doesn't grow around it. Well, I'm not a farmer, so I can't really speak much for that, but I know the effects of walnut sawdust on my skin when the sap's up and I'm sweating. A chemical reaction in it gives you a pretty good chemical burn. But it's odd that this hedge, as nasty as it is, you know, it's really not good for much. It burns really hot for firewood, almost too hot. It's good for trailer flooring if you can find any that you can cut some lumber out of. It's good for blind posts and corner posts for fencing, but other than that, hedge is pretty nasty. I don't like working in it. We don't cut any of it. It's a nightmare to try to weave through it in a log skidder because there's absolutely no give to hedge. It's dangerous, especially on an open station machine. Every time I come into a grove of hedge like this, I'm really watching everything because it's a good way to get impaled, seriously, and literally impaled, like something stuck in you, deeply impaled. I've been stabbed and poked and prodded by this stuff, and I don't know how I've been so lucky so far to never be seriously injured, but knock on wood, hopefully I can keep that streak going. Now, Dad walked up through here and he said there was 3 really good trees up here. I'm assuming this is one of those 3, and I think I come by another one up there, so there's still one more lurking in here somewhere. And I seen the top of another one on down here, so maybe that's it, but we'll see if we can get this thing here on the ground. sappy. That's a pile of logs. 76 trees total. That's what there ended up being. If you're wondering how I'm getting this awesome aerial view, I'm standing on the cab of the 440 here, doing a little roof surfing. Be kind of neat to mount a camera back here on this, wouldn't it? Might do that. Main line's getting ready to break. I need to retie it. Before somebody says something, I'll say it. Yeah, 76 trees total. Some big trees in there. And like I told the gentleman that owns this, I told him he's got to be the luckiest guy I know, because the majority of these big trees cut solid and sound. Now you can see, just like this right here, we had 7 or 8 trees total that cut bad, but oddly enough, none of them were the big trees. And that's what just blows my mind about this. If someone would have bet money against all these trees cutting the way they did, or let me rephrase that, I would have bet money that a lot of these big trees would have cut bad. There. I honestly, when I first looked at these, I was like, man, you know, some of them are going to cut good, but some of these things are on there. They showed a lot of dead limbs, but it just, good set of trees. They've got some worm in them, some of them, but all in all, a good set of trees. Couldn't be happier with it. So, blast drag just come out. I'm going to shut this thing down, and I'm going to jump in the skid steer, and I'm going to do a little cleanup here around the field. I'm going to push some of these brush piles up for him that he's already started, and I'm going to do a little of that, do a little cleanup where we've been down here in the bottom, because he's got cattle in here, and he needs all the pasture ground he can get. So the less mess from us he has, the better off he'll be. So we'll do some cleanup probably till dark, and then we'll go in and come back tomorrow and start working these things up. That's going to be a chore in itself. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.